What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. It's a transfer update, match preview. We're mixing the two. Transfers are very quiet, so I guess it's more of a match preview. But listen, Daniel Farke clarified his position today when it comes to transfer, and I gotta say, I agree with a lot of what he says. Obviously, we do know that there are a few question marks when it comes to the bulk of the squad in terms of the depth. But what he said today does make a lot of sense overall. But we'll get into that as we get into the comments. You know the drill, people. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, of course. Drop your score predictions below, and any comments that you may have. I just want to make it clear as well. Somebody replied back to me saying, I'm a regular viewer." The comment disappeared, but I'm a regular viewer. Don't don't be rude, but be nice to me. Listen, I reply back with the same energy that I receive. So if you're good to me, I'm good to you. But if you're going to be a little bit sarky, a little bit, think that you're a know-it-all, I'll reply to you in kind. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. And anyone that has interacted with me regularly knows that if you're good to me, I'm great to you. So we'll just to say that from the top. Jim Jones saying, "Good going to catch a live one with the great man. Come on, KG. Thank you so much." And yeah, Joe, listen, I know Joe sent a few people over, and shout out to Joe. I got to message him back after this. But yeah, listen, shout out to Joe doing all that stuff. I don't know how he does all those watch longs for other teams. I don't know how he does it, man. I don't know how he does it, but shout out to Joe for that. But yeah, listen, let's just get into it. It's a shame that we don't have a lot of transfer stuff to talk about, especially over the month. It was starting so promising. We had a few links, and then especially I think you've seen over the past couple of weeks on my channel anyway, there just hasn't been a lot to talk about, man. It's just not a lot to talk about. Tintin is saying here, "I'm not fussed if no one comes in, rather have quality than quantity." 100% Tintin. And that's always been the thing for me. It's not about just any old names you bring in. And listen, you know what? A great place to start, by the way, is this guy. Nat Phillips. Remember this guy, people? He's great. He's the answer. It's the answer. Well, he has now found himself on loan at Cardiff City. Okay, so also a championship club. Nothing wrong with that. But if you look at Cardiff City, what are they doing? 14th. They're not going to get promoted. They're not going to get relegated. So it's one of those where he's gone into the team to get regular football. He just was never the answer, people. And people convinced that this guy was going to be the next. I don't know what. Listen, we all judge football differently, but I got a pretty good track record with this kind of stuff. The fact that he's gone to Cardiff on loan speaks volumes. He's going there for game time, probably to get a move to another Midland Championship club where he belongs. He does not belong. If he was so good, he'd be at one of the at least top 6 teams in this league. He's nowhere near. So we can now finally put to bed this guy ever coming to Leeds. It's over. And please don't let this be a relink in the summer. He's fully trash. The thing is, Render, what people get blinded by is that he's at Liverpool, so they think that he must have some kind of pedigree. People forget that Liverpool also signed Ben Davis when they were desperate for centre-back cover. Didn't even play him one time. But all of a sudden, because Ben Davis moved to Liverpool, oh, Ben Davis, he must be a pretty good defender. Don't even know where Ben Davis is right now. He went on loan to Sheffield United. I don't know where he is since. I've been right. I don't need any convincing. I know a lot of you believed in him. I just know what I'm talking about when it comes to these things. Evie, shout out to you. Always love your honesty, KJ. Whenever you reply to things I've put, you've always been kind, respectful, and occasionally even humorous. Yeah, I try. Listen, you give people the energy you receive. I've always been into energy, people. But if you're coming at me being snarky, you'll get a snarky response, and I will make it spicy. I got a lot of spice, people. You know what I mean? But listen, I'm feeling a little bit better as well. I know a lot of you said yesterday. I was, when you're ill and your mind's just foggy. That's where I was yesterday. I'm a little bit better today. But listen, we've got comments from Daniel Farke. Unfortunately, with the injury news, is that Struijk is. They say he's making good progress, but then he also said in the same conference that he's had a little setback, and he's not going to be in team training for another couple of weeks. So we're already with a very thin defense as it is already. Struijk is already going to be out for a few more games, it seems, which is a shame because he's a big part of the team, as Daniel Farke said today. So Pascal is going to be one to look at. He's been taking injections, which is never a good sign. He didn't rule out surgery, but we don't know what's going to happen with this guy. It's a shame, but Did he come back too soon from his previous surgery? Who knows? But we do need Pascal. We need the defensive numbers quite clearly. By the way, we need these guys here. Yeah, I guess so. Alison, Leeds makes us foggy. They do indeed. So we got him out. Dan James is obviously is going to be out for this game, which you already knew. Archie Gray is back in the training and available, and Somerville will be fine. So that is good. As we brought up Somerville's slight injury concern. Could not afford to lose both of our key wingers. So now it's a shootout, isn't it, between Nanto and Jaden Anthony for that spot, Dan James's spot. I would fully expect Somerville to play in the game versus Bristol City. Okay, here we go on the transfers. First of all, let's just get this one out of the way. Liam Cooper is seemingly going nowhere, so we can rule this one out. Farke on Cooper's future. No one of our key players will leave the club. Liam is our club captain. He has not played each and every game, but he's still one of our key players, our cornerstones. Liam will definitely stay. So listen, no low move, no Blackburn move for Liam Cooper. He will be here and will remain one of our defensive options. Think of that what you will. But Farke on transfers in the last 24 hours of the window. If there is a perfect fit, then we will do it. If there isn't, then we won't. Indicating again that defensive additions are the priority, which they are. There is a little bit more. And this is where I do agree with him on quite a few points. So let me just read this bit out. Farke pointing out that Leeds have had a strong season so far. It's difficult to bring in players who will improve us. If you bring in a player in January, he has to help immediately. These players are pretty rare. It's difficult to make these deals happen. When you have a pretty tight group, you have a lot of spirit and unity. Every player is needed. This is my experience, okay? I can't guarantee that something will happen in the next 24 hours. What I can guarantee is that we're trying until the last hour to make something happen. He also again referenced that they're not sleeping. But a lot of what he says is absolutely correct. You don't want to upset the unity and spirit that we have, only because we're on a winning run. If we was a middling team or near the bottom, then you can shake that up. But we are very close to the top. We win this game against Bristol City, we're in the top 2. So there is a lot to like. The only thing I would say is that I think he said wrong, is that we have a strong squad. I disagree with that. I think we've got a very, very strong 11. Again, I would put any of our players up against most of this championship. When I say most, I'm talking Leicester, talking Southampton. So that's not an issue. But when you're talking the bench, and I know the Pervader fan club is around, very, very loud as well, by the way. But when you've got Shackleton, Pervader on the bench, 2 goalkeepers, that's not a strong squad. That's a good 11 with some decent quality. At the moment, we've got Peru on the bench, which is obviously good at this level. As much as you guys don't like Peru, he's still got double figures in goals playing from central midfield. So he's doing all right. But I think that, he's even said today as well that they have tried to make a couple of signings, but if they're injured, there's no point in signing them. Again, I agree with that. What I disagree with, though, is that it's hard to make deals happen. For some, there are deals that are hard to happen. But when we've seen Hull already, and let's use them as an example. They've brought in an attacking midfielder who a lot of people say we need, not the player per se, but the position. They've brought in one of those. They also brought in Ryan Giles, who's a left back, who a lot of people say that we need a left back. So it's not hard. It's just about the deals that you're trying to look at. So we shall see. Now, Gavin, imagine that. Gavin, I wouldn't watch the game. I would not. I would never watch the game, Gavin. What? Oh God, no. There's been no other talk about Joe Worrell. Please no. Blinky Fish is saying here, depth from the bench in a lot of positions not good enough. Yeah. Let's have a look. Hard to things. What Ryan here? Hard to convince. I think not hard to happen. Hard to convince. Yeah. Ryan, I hear that. Yeah, Ryan saying here, hard to convince. I think not hard to happen because that's another thing he was talking about in terms of convincing a player to come and them expecting to come in and play. Now, as he said, unless they're exceptional, are they taking Archie Gray's spot in the team? Absolutely not. And I think Danny Farke has made that pretty clear that he sees Archie Gray as the right back going forward. Okay, we're going to work on that basis. So if the right back is being signed and they think they're going to come in and play, and Danny Farke is saying to him, well, you might have to wait for your chance here because Archie's here, they're probably not going to come. And even the right back that I think it was the Japanese player who is partly injured. Don't sign an injured player. I mean, we've got enough. We don't need any injured players. So again, I'm in agreement with that. I just think that sometimes we do make deals to be harder than they actually are, but it all depends on the type of player that you're trying to get. Hank here saying Creswell can. Oh, I hate that term. Do a job. That's such a horrible term. Creswell can play at right back. I mean, we've seen no evidence of that. I don't think. Can he play at right back? He's not the quickest. He's not going to get up and down. I've never seen evidence that Creswell can play there. Yeah, that's my thinking, Danny. It's not even that he's not quick enough as well, Danny. We've just never seen evidence of him being there. And if you can't nail down a centre back spot in the team, I don't see how Farke would trust him at right back. We shall see, especially if there are no incomings coming. Does anyone at this point? I'll ask the room now, and obviously for the people watching replay, does anyone think there's going to be a player coming in? I'm very interested. I'll be honest, I'm 50-50 myself. I think if we are going to get someone in, it's going to be on the basis of, say, if Burnley tie up that centre back deal, maybe we get in a Connor Roberts kind of player. But then, like Daniel Farke says, and like I'm even thinking, is Connor Roberts going to drop from Burnley's bench where he's not getting a lot of game time, but he's still seeing Premier League minutes here and there? Is he going to drop out of that team to come and sit on the bench at Leeds United? I don't know. I just don't see it. Tintin saying 50-50. Yeah, we are Leeds 50-50. Yeah. Danny, you've been consistent. I will give you that. You said since the first nobody comes in. I hear you. Yeah, apparently Nonto's new contract will be signed. And obviously when that does happen, we'll talk about that then. Carol here saying I did, but now not so sure. Yeah. And Jack here, I know I got that feeling too, Jack. So I'm going to put that here. I think we'll get 0 judging by how he's talking today. Yeah. It's like he was saying, we're going to keep trying. We're going to try, but don't hold your breath. And I think if you come to peace with that, then you start to look at it a little different. But what I will say, I mean, LUC data put a little graphic out. I haven't got it up with me now, but he did say that the cover back position is Sam Byram, Junior Firpo, 2 injury-prone players, and then Archie Gray and Shackleton. Shackleton for me it's not even a conversation starter. He shouldn't even be in those options. So it does leave us very, very light at those positions. And also with players that aren't even out and out fullbacks to begin with. It is crazy though. It is actually mad. But as I said yesterday, if Daniel Farke, which it sounds like he was today, he seems very confident in this group to go up. And I can see why. He was giving all the stats today about Leeds United having more points at this stage than when we went up with Bielsa. He was given all those kind of numbers, of all the wins that we've had this month. If he feels that we're going to carry on like that and from now till the end of the season, fine. But you have to make sure that happens now. Because if it doesn't, I don't want to hear any excuses at the end of the season. It's been clear what we've needed. Well, from the outset, what we needed. If you haven't got those done and are working on the base of what this squad is now, that's on your head. And as long as people have got accountability for that, I'm cool with it. So look, okay, what was it? I mean, I saw this again yesterday. This is like Charlie Taylor in. If anyone, if Charlie Taylor's not, let me word this one. Apparently, Charlie Taylor's not going anywhere this month. But let's just say that he's available in the summer. Who cares? Is Charlie Taylor the only left back that Leeds United know? Is he the only one that Leeds United scout? I don't think so. There's got to be other players out there besides Charlie Taylor. I can't believe how much time this guy. It just seems that once we get our claws into someone in the link, it just never goes away. Whether it's Ryan Kent, no matter how many times he moves club, hey, he could come to Leeds. No, there's other players out there. John's here saying Archie's not a right back. The thing is, though, John, what you've got to look at is that Archie has played the majority of the season now. He started off in central midfield. He has played the majority of the season at right back. And Daniel Farke quite clearly sees him as a right back. So you have to work on the manager's basis. I'm not saying it's right. I would much prefer to see Archie do his thing in the midfield. I think he's much more progressive than any midfielder we have. But Daniel Farke sees him as a right back right now. So obviously, if it doesn't work, John and everyone else, we speak about it at the end of the season. But so far, it's working, and he has to hope that it works for the rest of the remainder of the season. Um, Stream of Dreams. It's not even about the betrayal. I'm not into all of that stuff. In regards to betray, you know, he was a young guy when he left here anyway. Regardless, and I believe people deserve second chances if it's not egregious. But it's just that any time a left back is mentioned, Charlie Taylor comes up. It's like you'd have thought that there's no other left backs around. It's all mad. Um, Bob Young saying, "Hi, KG, but Ben Godfrey signs tomorrow. Dyche playing him last night was just to bump up the price. As a former player under Farke, he fits what he said at the presser today." Yeah, Bob, I was thinking of that in regards to Ben Godfrey. Obviously, he was asked about it today in the presser, and he just said, "Look, I'm not speaking about players that are under contract elsewhere. But if Ben Godfrey signs, and I said it yesterday, he kind of ticks all the boxes. It's one body in who can cover all three positions across the back: left back, right back, and centre back. So you're killing three birds with one stone there. And yes, that happens all the time, Bob and everyone else. I saw a lot of that yesterday as well. People thinking because Ben Godfrey's playing in that Premier League game that he's not going to be moving elsewhere. It's shop window stuff. It happens all the time in football. If a player's about to move, the prospective club might want to see if this player is good, if he's fit, can he last the 90 minutes, how well does he play, when does he get tired? They have all those metrics they measure, and that was probably it. Now, if he doesn't move, then so be it. But Bob is right here. Ben Godfrey's worked with him before. He'll know what his Daniel Farke expects. Plays all three positions. It makes a lot of sense. Um, yeah, David. Ben Godfrey good enough even at our level? I don't know. Yes, at championship level, 100%. David, he's a championship defender. Premier League, no, just no. But at this level, his attributes that he's got makes him stand out above a little bit of the meat and potatoes defenders that are in this division, including Nat Phillips, who's now here. But yeah. Let's have a look here. Michael here saying Godfrey gives us another midfielder, Archie, and another right back, Byram. Yeah, there's just we know in football positions are more fluid than ever. And yeah, if Godfrey comes in, he comes in and maybe he, depending on the game, depending on the kind of winger we're coming up against, because Archie has done well overall at right back, but against the more tricky wingers, he has had a couple of problems. It's fair to say. So maybe you do bring him in to become right back. Archie then can move into midfield and do his thing. We've recently seen, by the way, I don't know if I want to get people's thoughts on this just quickly, but we've seen Adam Wharton. He's moving to Crystal Palace from Blackburn for about 22 mil. If he's 22 mil, what is Archie Gray? I wonder. I wonder how much Archie Gray is, because the ceiling for Archie Gray for me is higher than Wharton. I think Wharton is fine. You guys know I've got a lot of ex-Blackburn connects, but Archie Gray's ceiling is absolutely huge. So if he's 22, good grief, Archie Gray, Lord have mercy. Yeah, Les, I mean, I'll cover this again. I said it yesterday, but I'll say it again for, because obviously not everybody realizes this, but Godfrey on 75 grand, 100%, even if he's on 80 grand, let's say he's on 100 grand, Les. When you're the loaning club at a lower level, there is no way Everton and Leeds would engage and think that Leeds are going to cover 100 grand. Okay, it just never happens. What will happen is that Leeds will agree to cover a portion of the wages. And because we are on our first year of parachute payments, Danny Farke again was talking about that in terms of staying in PNS, I should say. We can cover a fair bit of those wages, especially with the wages that we've cleared out. Jed Spence gone, Luke Ayling gone, but maybe not the full amount. Okay, I think that's fair to say. If you're paying someone 75 grand a week in the championship, they better start every week. You know what I mean? But we will cover a portion of it and maybe send them a loan fee or something like that. So just to allay everyone's things about the wages, the parent club will cover the majority of it. Let's have a look here. Hanky is saying, sound like FFP is in the way. Hopefully in the future, the squad build is more thoughtful and stack steps in all positions. Yeah, it is in the way. And it's funny, he did mention about the loans out, all the loans out that we had, the loan out race in the summer, and how that's affected the club. Because I know a lot of people are talking about the long-term effects of loaning out players, how it's better in the long term. But in the short term, if we could have got a couple of transfer fees for a few of those players, we'd have had a lot more to play with. It's very interesting how he did mention that today about the players that have been loaned out. Those have been in the back, the back of my mind. But he brought them back up today, and it said it's kind of hamstring the club in that way because you're not getting immediate funds. You're getting wage relief, but you're not getting transfer funds to make signings or make loans, low fee signings. So yeah. Les just saying here, agree, KG still be a fair chunk. Well, of course it will be. You're talking Premier League players, but if that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. Unless you go for the route of Ronnie Edwards from Peterborough, that is the only one I would say that if you're going to buy permanently, you invest in that. He's not going to ask for anywhere near that kind of money, and then at least he's on your books for the next 4 or 5. Well, contracted to you for the next 4 or 5 years. Whether he stays or not is another question. But that's the only other way. Otherwise, Les and everyone else, it is going to have to be a higher end loan at this stage of where we are. And again, this is our first year down in the Championship, so we should be able to get deals like that done. Darren here saying, sounds like we are paying some of those wages for the loans out. I think we are paying for some, not all. I think some of those the loan clauses that were taken advantage of, the loaning club had to pay all the wages, and that is it. I don't know if we're covering any of the wages. I've got to say, I can't answer that definitively, but I do know that some of the clauses were that the loaning club has to pay the full wage. So say Brendan Aronson, we're not paying any of his wages. That's all, the German club that are taking care of him. And yeah, but still, you're not getting any transfer money in for that, are you? Chris, my fellow troll here. Now, listen, Chris here is saying without Rodon, the defense is an absolute nightmare. And I actually agree with Chris on this one. But again, these are the risks that the club, Daniel Farke, are taking. And there's nothing we can do about it. We can't, as a content creator, it would be better for me to go up in arms and I'm never going to F and blind on here, but to be, lose my head. But if they're not going to do anything, what can we do? The only thing that we can do is look at it, hope that they know what they're doing, and get these decisions right. And if they haven't, then we have to live with the consequences and be here another year in the Championship without the better players that we have in this team. Because believe me, listen, if any of you guys think that Somerville, Jorginho are going to be here this time next season if we're not in the Prem, I'll have whatever you're drinking. Okay, I'll have whatever you're drinking. Yeah, I know, Mark and everything. Since Roden and Amperdon, it's been good, but knife edge if they're injured. Yeah, it's all ifs though, isn't it? And let's be fair with Roden, even when he goes off injured, he'll come back in the next game. I think there's only one time where he missed a game or something like that, apart from when Daniel Farke disciplined him. But he's been very good for us, and Ampadu as well. He's been ever present. Of course, there's always a risk of injury that we know of, but I'm thinking more, when I talk about injuries, I'm talking more of the players that have got history. I'm talking about Bamford. I'm talking about Firpo. And if you're relying on those, that's the risk you're taking. That's the risk you're taking. No, random guy. Just to cover this, do we have to get a loan extension for Roden if we only make the playoffs? He's here for the season, so he'll be here until the playoff final, random guy. So don't worry about that. Yeah, Les, this is it. Yep, KG, we can't do out about it, as you say. Get used to it. It's easier to sleep. That's me. Do you? I'll be real with you. When we was in the Premier League and not doing anything to improve the team to where I felt that we needed to be and to where I want us to go again as Leeds United, I always say this. I go back to when I first started supporting Leeds United. We were one of the best teams in the country, one of the best teams in Europe, semi-finalists in 2 European Cups. There'll be fans older than me that have seen this team lift trophies, league titles, and that's where I want us to get back to. But when you can see that the people at the club aren't doing what you want them to do, and I was losing sleep. I was like, why can't this team just buy players that Leeds United can easily attract and do the business properly? Why aren't they selling players who are clearly not good enough anymore and stop doing the kumbaya thing? It was annoying me. It was getting on my nerves. But I tell you, over the last couple of years, it's just been like, okay, they're not doing what they're doing. Why should I keep on losing my lid? As a content creator, it kind of hurts because I guess people could clip me up more if I'm losing my head. But I'm much more relaxed now, much more relaxed. You know what? We'll see. I say this now, but if we don't go up, I will lose my lid. I'll be real with you because I do not want to be in this league. I've said it 100 times. I'll say it 101 times. I don't want to be in this league no more. No, I hate this division. It's poor. It's absolutely poor. But yeah. Okay. Right. Sorry. Rende is saying we as fans just have to switch off. Don't talk about late nights, early 2000s. KG depresses me. I render, and that's the thing. I don't harp for those days back. I want those days back, but with a new batch of players. I want to go player for player and say, well, is this player that's helped us get to Europe better than Lee Bowyer? Is this player? But no one's touching those levels. And that's why when older fans tell me that Eddie Gray is the best winger that we've ever had, I will say, okay, because I never saw him play. And I won't argue against that. But when people try and tell me that some of these players are better than some of the UEFA Cup semifinalists we had, the Champions League semifinalists we have, I just have to say you got to sit this one out, mate. You got to sit this one out because Lee Bow, you got 55 goals from midfield. I think Bamford's on 54. Come on, guys. There's levels to this, but I want us to get back to those levels, and that's the thing that really eats me up, man. Diggler here saying, I'm with you, KG. It's no fun being champion. It really isn't, man. It really isn't. But listen, we've got a game in all this. We've done transfers. So you know what? Let's go on to the game because we do have Bristol City away. And as I mentioned earlier, we can go second. We can go second if we get the job done and get 3 points. We can get the 60 points, move above Ipswich and Southampton, and then the pressure is on them. I always say about Friday night games, they can make or break your weekends. If we get 3 points, I know Danny Farke says that the pressure doesn't come until the later games. No. They will feel the pressure if we jump above them. They'll say, whoa, where have these lot come from? So let's get the 3 points. It won't be easy. Bristol City are on a decent run of form. I'll put their league position here. They're 13th, mid-table, but they're getting draws here. They're becoming a little bit harder to beat. But we should have the quality, which we do have, to unlock that team and get 3 points there. So what should we do? What should we do? I'm going to say here, I'm going to go for 3 points, people. I don't know about you. Give me your score predictions in the chat. Obviously, put them in the comments after. I'm going to go a tight 2-1. 2-1 victory to Leeds. Let's go. And how about Nanto to get on the score sheet? I'm gonna predict that one. Let's go. Render here saying hoping for a clean sheet 3-0, but Melia makes me nervous. I hear you. Karen here 2-0 Leeds. J-Tech saying 2-1. I will literally Diggler saying, let me say, I will literally cry if we lose Rutter and Somerville because we didn't get promoted. Yes, the price of failure, though. Price of failure. And there's too many teams sniffing around those two for them to stay here in the championship. They won't want to do it again either. Paul here saying 3-1. I hear that. Lee saying 3-1. Steel S saying 2-0 Leeds. Arson here saying 4-0 Leeds. That would be nice. Mark says he's moving to South America if we get no transfers and lose to Bristol and Purdue injured. Mark, come on, man. Glass is always half full. Remember that one. Let's go. We are Leeds saying 3-1. Random guy saying 2-0 Leeds. Diggler going 3-1. Yeah. So does anyone think Bristol City might get a result here? Because it's not. I don't think I've seen a draw here or anything like that. Chris. Okay. Of course, Chris would have to do it. Yeah. Chris Baldwin saying 2-2. And yeah, Jive is saying I would start Anthony. That's fair, Jive. I think I said that in the cup match reaction. But yeah, if you're picking out of the two right now, especially after that goal in the cup, then yeah, Jaden Anthony probably gets a start. All I would say though is that if you're looking at Nanto to sign a new contract, and this could be a time for him to play on the left as well instead of putting him out on the right, then I would possibly play Nanto. But I'm completely with you. See if Anthony can do that again because he needs to show a little bit more than he has already. And Chris saying here, draw. Okay. And John going 25-0. Let's go. That's not respecting the opposition, though, John. Farke wouldn't like that. He'd tell them all off. You know that as well. Jorginho, what are you doing? No. You cannot do that. Respect. And Michael here saying Nonto on the left is worth a go. Agree, KG. Yeah, shout out to you, man. And listen, that is it there. That is the transfer update. That is the match preview. So yeah, any other comments, anything that I may have missed, please put them in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one, people. Listen, hopefully we have a defender to announce. At least one, that would be nice. But if not, I'll see you in the next one, people. Peace out.